Hi, Prathana. Thank you for sending in your essay for correction. Really good idea to get feedback before your exam. Sounds like your exam is coming up this weekend. Wow. So this doesn't give us much time, but let's look through this and see if I can guide you. The given pie diagram, I would say pie chart actually, illustrates the percentages of different types of food products consumed across the world in 2014. Lovely. Overall, and that's one word together. I don't really like we can observe. So I would take that out. Remember, this is a report, so it should be very formal, your style of writing. So overall, meat, and then past tense, was consumed the most, followed by fruit and vegetables, while rice was, again, because this is 2014, and you should have the least preferred. It could be the lowest number, but it would be the least preferred food. The most preferred food, so here we've got preferred again, the most eaten, because it's not necessarily what they preferred, it's what they ate. So we need to be a little bit careful. So the most eaten food variety was of non-vegetarian diet, consisting almost 60%, constituting, sorry, almost 60%, which included, then again, past tense all the way through, 31% meat and almost 28% fish. Second, on the preferences, so we need to change that in terms of preferences, okay? Second, or the most second consumed group, or the food group consumed or ranked second, maybe the food group ranked second comprised 11% cereals, followed by 10%, yeah, fruit and veg is absolutely fine, respectively. Surprisingly, now, don't make any comment. That counts as a personal comment, and you don't want any opinion in this. It very much this is factual. So, bread was down the list, a little bit informal. Bread featured bottom of the list, 5.5. Okay. It is evident that the non-vegetarian diet, which gives proteins, takes the largest share. Okay. Of the world food consumption, which is more than half the total food consumed. You see, this kind of comment you don't really need. I mean, I don't want to kind of get rid of it because obviously it shows your knowledge, but really in this kind of test, you don't get extra marks for showing your knowledge. It's really, we want the structures of comparing. So I would almost take out that as well, actually. So the non-vegetarian diet took the largest share of world food consumption, equating to more than half consumed, compared to, or in contrast, vegetables and fruits together made up only a fifth. Good, that's nice. Okay, and then here, while cereals, bread, and rice, you definitely don't want that. Constituted barely a fifth of the portion. And then, because I've started with while, you need to have something to compare this to. Meat. Meat was eaten, was how many more times? Meat compared to cereals. So you've grouped the cereals and the rice, and you want to compare that to meat. You've got was roughly similar to this total. Okay, or was slightly higher. Roughly similar or slightly higher. So what I want you to put in here, more of, is so less of your opinion and more of while. In contrast, you've got somewhere you had up here, whereas, I think. You had while, yeah, which is great. So we want this, we want whereas, and we want as many, so group, which you did, group it together. And then we want as many comparatives and superlatives as you can. Okay, so you don't need that line that is sort of too much of a summary, but you don't need that because you've already said that in your overall comment. So check your word count on here. Yeah, your word count's absolutely fine. Yeah, so mostly think about grouping and think about using those contrast words. So in and not no opinion. Think of it very much as a formal report. Otherwise, you've got nice stuff in here, very good. And pay attention to little things like, obviously, the tense. That's not a little thing, that's actually a big thing. Make sure you get the tense right, depending on what is given to you there. Okay, so here we go. You've got your task 2, and this is the essay about marketing being invasive or an intrusion. So in today's era, marketing has advanced its boundaries across the globe. And advertising. You really, really need to get in this idea of advertising because this is really what the essay is about. It's not really about trade. So that's very important to stress this. While there are some who believe, watch out on the verb noun agreement, some who believe that it's encroached into many countries, others believe it's vital for growth and widening ideas, learning languages, new cultures. Okay, widening ideas. So this is a little bit similar to what was in the question, if you can look at the question in front of you. So you need to slightly paraphrase this to widening ideas and understanding alternative cultures or alternative. You could have cultures, or you could have better would be traditions. Something like that. Always try and don't use the words that are in the question. So you've got some believe and others believe. So it's a little bit repetitive here. I take out believe there and also to choose or argue or suggest that. Also, you could think about who are these people, who are some and who are others. Businessmen, government, policymakers. Think about who the people might be and put in the name of the people. This essay will discuss both these views and get this a bit longer. And according to my opinion, it's important. It is, unless it has some limits. According to my opinion, it is an important economical form of education. I would say, in my view, so according to my opinion, it doesn't sound that natural. I'd say, in my view, this trend, whatever, could be an important economic form of education, as long as it has some limits. So not unless, but as long as it has some limits or limitations. The approach regarding international marketing depends totally on which product it is based upon. Okay, it's well known that advanced technology, don't need the, has created many gadgets which are made in developed countries and marketed widely across other countries which are less developed. Okay, good. If the products are economical, durable and efficient, these are widely accepted. However, because you need to explain this, as the demand of such products increases, rather than goes on increasing, I would just say increases, it eventually decreases the sales. It eventually impacts negatively. On the sales of similar products which are made in local countries. So I would use impacts negatively rather than decreases, although I know what you mean, but I think rather than just having increases and decreases next to each other, I think this looks better. As a result, countries which are importing the goods have a reduction in their economy, whereas the revenue goes to exporting companies. Yeah. As a result, so this impacts negatively. As a result, I was going to say risk experiencing economic hardship compared to or whereas, either whereas or compared to. Whereas the revenue, okay, the sales revenue, rather than goes to, sort of change the language here, it's a little bit informal, is what results in profits for the exporting companies. Okay, good. Nice work there. Just have to change that around a tiny bit. Have a reduction in, you wouldn't really say that, and goes to is a little bit informal. For instance, China has made so many electronic gadgets which are cheaply available in other countries. People who cannot afford expensive gadgets prefer to buy these. And as a result, almost 60% of electronic market is occupied by Chinese, which are tremendous products. Okay, this is a little bit long-winded. There's nothing wrong with the writing as such, but you're sort of going around in circles because you've already said this to me here. So you're kind of saying it again, but just relating it to China. So I think you need to be a bit more concise on this bit here. I would very much urge in these essays to be concise, not to repeat yourself. You've made a good point here. So use China as an example, but more, because you're talking about the negative impact on this, more, how about taking a country who's experienced this? So you could say, for instance, in India, the production of electronic goods has been reduced by 30% over the past 10 years because of aggressive marketing by Chinese companies. Relate this back to marketing. And I think the impact it has on the local companies, that would be a better example. At the same time, yeah, so again, for me, all this I think is just too much here. You need to be more concise. Software applications which are globally marketed, happily accepted by many countries. Yeah, this, I don't think you need to make that point. I think you've got enough to say here without throwing in a second point there, which you haven't got space to develop. So work on this idea about the negative impacts. So local businesses are being impacted, local businesses are failing because of this new trend, and relate it back to marketing and advertising. Keep checking on your title and keep checking that you are on the right title. On the other hand, there is another thought that, okay, don't use that, it's a bit sort of informal. Okay. Many experts argue that or suggest that international marketing campaigns, we need to get in some more vocab here, often seen on social media or on billboards, so I'm using just common words for advertising, is important, is an important form of education, full stop. If you consider the tourism, it would be the tourism industry, put out in articles, unless it's marketed internationally, it would not flourish. So you've got a nice conditional here, but unless it is marketed nationality, it will not flourish. So you could have will not, but it wouldn't be flourished. It's not a passive verb. It will not flourish. Even better, you could have a second conditional. If it were not internationally marketed, it would not be able to flourish. Would be better, kind of higher level grammar. Get your second conditional in there. To advertise tourism or local tourism, hospitality, one needs to globally spread it. Okay, hospitality, I would say here, to advertise tourism, hospitality, tourism and hospitality, link it together. To advertise tourism and hospitality through international platform, or I would maybe, rather than starting with this verb here, okay, successful advertising of tourism and hospitality should be spread through an international platform. So successful advertising of tourism and hospitality should be spread through a global platform, which, connected together, would advance the tourism sector and further bring profits to the country and help the economy to improve. Okay, nice. Link it together to make a lovely complex sentence. For example, watch out for articles again. European tourism industry has spread an awareness of tourism on a large scale, which which has led to, or rather than which has created top-rated visited countries worldwide. Worldwide. Okay, stop there because that sentence is quite long. This appreciation, this advertising and raising of awareness eventually helps to spread ideas, learn, yes, as well as reduce language barriers. Really nice. I like how you've linked that back in. That's a good paragraph there. Well done. To recapitulate, or in conclusion is better, I believe international marketing is a vital economical form of education. Yes, I'm a bit nervous about this. Don't repeat, just say it again. Go back to your point. So understanding different nations, getting on better together, being more culturally aware. So say this in a different way. However, it should be limited so as not to encroach on other countries' economy and endanger local enterprises. Okay, so well done. Oops, spelling there. You've done 2 good tasks there. Really, really nice writing. I'm very impressed with this. If you haven't done IELTS before, this is looking like a really good essay and a very impressive task 1 as well. So you've obviously been studying hard, which is great. My main message on the task 2 here would be just keep it concise, that paragraph. Develop the paragraph properly. Don't just throw in other ideas. Make sure your example is very relevant to what you're writing before. Keep checking you're on task. Watch out on there's some little grammar mistakes which you need to get rid of. Noun verb agreement and articles. Review those before you do your test. Think about the conditional sentences. Always good to include as many good grammar points as you can. I really hope you do well in your test. If you don't, and if you need more help or you need to get a better grade, come back to us. We do a lot of online courses with corrections which you might find useful. But really good luck. Well done.